Hello, I'm Richard Nongard with SubliminalScience.com, and this is part 2 in our resource series on self-hypnosis. And this section is entitled Emotional Intelligence. So I have a question for you. How smart are you? I never was really good at math. I'm actually a lousy speller. And these are two things that have sort of made me at times feel less than intelligent, even though I actually hold advanced degrees. My son doesn't help at all. A lot of you have met him on some of my previous videos. He often helps me teach classes and often helps as my subject when I'm doing demonstrations. Alex actually got a 35 on the English part of the ACT. He is an exceptional student in all advanced placement courses. And Alex is one who has no reservations about correcting my English. He has no problem correcting my pronunciation. He finds great joy in correcting all of my spelling errors everywhere whenever I type anything. And at times I feel, wow, I'm not very good at spelling and I'm not very good at math, and maybe I'm just not that smart. Maybe that's why I have a degree in counseling rather than astrophysics. Well, I have great news if you feel like me. And the great news is that intelligence is not defined by academic aptitude. Often we take the intelligence quotient, the IQ test, to determine whether or not we're smart. And an IQ test actually measures your ability to do analogies. Really, that's what the heart of the IQ measure is. So the question is there any other way to measure intelligence? And fortunately, we have a Yale professor named Howard Gardner who has spent the last 30 years helping us understand that intelligence can take on many different forms. It's not merely academic intelligence. It's not just are you good at math or are you good at spelling. The good news here is that you actually might be smarter than you think you are, because there are many different ways to measure intelligence. For Gardner, there are actually 3 ways intelligence is made. First, the ability to create an effective product or offer a service that is valued within a culture. It is, second, a set of skills that make it possible for a person to solve problems in life. And third, it's the potential for finding creative solutions for problems, which involves, of course, gathering new knowledge. And those 3 things sound a lot like hypnosis to me. By the way, creating an effective product doesn't mean that it will come in a box and sit on a store shelf. It really means that we contribute, that we're worthwhile, that we have something to offer other people. Gardner's actually proposed 9 different types of intelligence: linguistic intelligence, logical or mathematical intelligence, musical or rhythmic intelligence, body or kinesthetic intelligence. I just came back from yoga. My 62-year-old yoga teacher, without a doubt, excels in kinesthetic intelligence. Spatial intelligence. I want my pilot or rocket scientist to be high in spatial intelligence, even if they're not a good speller like me. Intrapersonal intelligence and interpersonal intelligence, and existential intelligence, really philosophy. Now, some of you are probably familiar with the work of Daniel Goleman. He wrote 2 books that were New York Times bestsellers. One was called Emotional Intelligence, and one was called Social Intelligence. And we're going to focus on emotional intelligence today. And Goleman's idea for emotional intelligence really came out of looking at Gardner's proposed 9 arenas of multiple intelligences. There are 4 things that Goleman tells us are the hallmarks of emotional intelligence. So even though I'm not real good at spelling, and even though I'm not real good at math, and even though I might not do great on a academic test of some kind, I definitely have these 4 characteristics of emotional intelligence, and they are self-awareness, knowing why we feel what we feel and what we feel. That's the heart of self-awareness. Goleman tells us that self-management is the second component of emotional intelligence. Chances are pretty good you have taken this course on self-hypnosis, at least at some level, because you would like to become more effective at self-management. Not only handling distressing feelings, but what we're going to focus on in our self-hypnosis session today, and what Goleman really stresses, and that is the ability to create from within positive emotions. Oftentimes, I come from the world of professional counseling, people think of mental health as being the absence of negative emotions. decreasing depression, decreasing anxiety, or decreasing fear. The reality is, the true hallmark of emotional intelligence is to be able to create joy in any situation, the ability to, from within, create a sense of satisfaction or empowerment or resource or confidence or any other resource state that's useful to us. The third hallmark of emotional intelligence, according to Goleman, is empathy. This is knowing how others feel, but more importantly, this is about being able to be in rapport with one another. If you've taken NLP training, you've focused endlessly on the concept of rapport. And those of you who have taken hypnosis training courses to become certified in clinical hypnosis, without a doubt, you have spent time focusing on building rapport before we can move into suggestion. And this is the third component of emotional intelligence, empathy. The fourth component of emotional intelligence is the ability to develop skilled relationships. I've always said it this way: nobody ever gets well alone. Whenever I have a significant change to make, I'm able to make that change because I have the support, the compassion, the empathy, and even the guidance and mentorship, or even the confrontation from those who actually love me and care about me. Being able to build significant relationships and navigate significant relationships is one of those hallmarks of emotional intelligence. And that's the fourth aspect of Goleman's idea here of emotional intelligence. Now, there's great news for you here, and that is that when we look at leadership, the ability to influence and affect other people around us, and leadership is really important, not just in management at a corporation, but it's important in your family. It's important if you're a therapist, in your ability to create change within others one-on-one in your office. And a far better measure of effective leadership impacting other people than mathematical abilities is the presence of and the acquiring of emotional intelligence. So in today's self-hypnosis session, we're really going to focus on the second aspect of Goleman's idea of self-hypnosis, and that is self-management. Not only effectively handling distressing emotions, but generating positive emotions. Now, I'm going to teach you a strategy or a technique here for self-hypnosis that I think is actually very simple and very powerful as well. You're going to need two things. You're going to need a pen and you're going to need a piece of paper. And it really doesn't matter what the paper is. I'm going to lean over here and I'm going to procure a piece of paper from my printer. So here's a piece of paper. You can use index cards if you wanted to, or you could even use yellow stickies. I love yellow stickies. They're usually on my desk. That's actually what I was reaching for. But today I cleaned my office. And for some reason, I cleaned my office and I cleaned away the yellow stickies. So I'm just going to use a regular piece of paper. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to write the resource state that I would like to create. What I'm going to do then is I'm actually going to tape it right over here to my computer monitor. And this is really a form of meditation, but it's a way to create from within the positive emotions, which are resource states for you. So think for a minute, what would be valuable for you to create? Would it be valuable for you to create joy? Would it be valuable for you to create satisfaction? Would it be valuable for you to create confidence? Would it be valuable for you to create really any resource state, a state of calm? What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to take your pen and I'd like you to take your piece of paper and I'd just like you to write that resource state that's valuable to you on that piece of paper. So on my piece of paper, I have simply written one word, and that word is joy. What I'd like you to do is take that piece of paper, take that pen. You can pause the video if you need to actually get a paper and pen. And I think it's important that you actually use a paper and pen. Okay? I don't think this is one of those things where we just think about it in our head. If you need to pause the video, that's fine. Because there's really power in taking a thought or an idea and making it concrete and real by writing it out. This is really the same power as the spoken word. And we know that from sort of a metaphysical perspective, the spoken word has all kinds of power to create. In Genesis chapter 1, everything that was created when God spoke. We understand throughout history the power of the spoken word. The American metaphysicians of the 1800s and 1900s, people like Charles Snell, understood the power of the spoken word. And that when we speak, we create. The idea here is real simple. Nothing exists in this world unless it was an idea first. And when we take an idea and we make it real, we make it concrete, we speak it or we write it, then it becomes something. It becomes something that's real. And it becomes something that we can possess, own, claim, or utilize. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little piece of tape here, and I'm going to stick my my word right here to the front of my monitor. Okay, and you can do the same thing. You can stick, if you have a yellow sticky, to your monitor. If you don't have a piece of tape handy, that's fine. You can just place it on the desk in front of you. And a lot of people have a misbelief, and the misbelief is that hypnosis requires my eyes to be closed. That's simply not true. We can, in fact, do hypnosis with our eyes open at any time. By the way, in my office, if you were to come see me for hypnotherapy, I would probably have you at some point have your eyes open, at other points close your eyes, at other points open the eyes. We can achieve trance, as I talked about in lesson number 1, really at any time, because we're always in trance. The idea is, how do we utilize it? And often we can utilize trance with our eyes open. So here's exercise number 1 in our session today. Now that you've placed that on the table in front of you, or you've stuck it on the front of the monitor in front of you, simply take in a deep breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. And pay attention to the breath. You, of course, neither have to speed up nor slow down the breath, but begin to fixate your attention on that word which you wrote. And that word, of course, represents a resource state that would be valuable to you in the arena of emotional intelligence, a resource state that you can amplify or you can step into, a resource state that you have the ability to create. And so as you breathe in, breathe out, focus your attention on that word which you've written. Anywhere in the body where you notice the muscles are tense, relax those muscles. Unclench the jaw. Let the shoulders drop a bit. Simply keep your attention focused on that word in front of you. Now you might notice something. You might notice that the handwriting on that piece of paper becomes, because you've been staring at it now for a period of time, a little bit brighter, sharper, crisper, clearer. It almost as if it's jumping off the page. For other people, it becomes fuzzier and less clear, and maybe even appears a little bit out of focus, or maybe even it's almost as if the word is becoming a part of that piece of paper. For some of you, you're not noticing any change at all. Any experience here is okay. There's not a right or a wrong way to experience self-hypnosis. So as you breathe in, breathe out, focusing on the breath and at the same time being aware of that word. You can continue to keep your eyes open, focused on that piece of paper if you would like to, or you can go ahead and close the eyes down now. And with the eyes closed, even if the eyes are closed, you can still see that word on that piece of paper, almost as if you have X-ray vision. And you've taken this time for self-hypnosis today to learn a new strategy, the strategy of emotional intelligence and creating a resource state. And so as you breathe in and breathe out, focus on not only seeing that word, but experiencing that word. Allow yourself to feel a sensation of the sensations associated with that word. If, for example, the word was confidence in your body, notice it in your posture. Or for me, my word was joy. Notice just a feeling of joy. But be aware of the physical experience of the word which you've written. Allowing yourself to experience on a physical level the reality of that state. And now as you breathe in, breathe out, relaxing in the chair, having taken this time to learn something new. On an emotional level, be aware of that word. You can even say it in your mind. I feel joy. I feel joy. I feel joy. Or whatever the word is that you've chosen. Go ahead, say that to yourself. Now, noticing that each time you say it, it gives power to the word that you've written down. And as you breathe in, breathe out, you can even congratulate yourself. You've done a great job with self-hypnosis today. Not only writing down a word, but allowing yourself both physically and mentally to associate fully into that resource state. Feels pretty good, doesn't it? The great thing is that you neither need me nor this video to be able to do this at any time, any place, and anywhere. In fact, from this point forward, should you need to tap into that resource you identified, you can simply close your eyes for a moment or focus on an object in front of you for a moment. Take in a breath and bring yourself back to this state which you've created here and now. And I'll give you another moment or so to enjoy this resource state that you've created. Enjoying the feeling, enjoying the awareness, even using positive affirmation as a tool to amplify that experience. And now, because this is only a demonstration, it is time to take in a breath and to reorient yourself to the room around you. If your eyes are closed, go ahead and open the eyes. If your eyes are open, take in a breath. Focusing on that word in front of you. Noting the power in the written word, the spoken word. And taking some time in a busy day to simply focus your attention on an ability that you have within you to create a resource state. Taking another breath. As you take in that breath, just let the air fill your lungs. Let the oxygen flow to every cell of the body. Notice how wonderful it feels to take some time to learn something new and to associate into a wonderful resource state. Taking another breath, feeling wide awake, fully alert, and of course, if your eyes are not open yet, open up the eyes, feeling fantastic. This is a self-hypnosis exercise that focuses on not only feeling better, but being able to create a new state, any state that is useful to us, a resource state. In the MP3 below, what you're going to find is another exercise that actually is similar to this, but builds on this to help you create a resource state and then amplify that state, magnify that state, and then take it to go, if you will, so that you can utilize it on your own, any place, anywhere that it would be useful to you. I'm glad that you have participated in session number 2 of our research series on self-hypnosis. I'm looking forward to you joining me next week, same time, same place, for lesson number 3. Your homework assignment is real simple. Each and every day, set aside some time for self-hypnosis. You can either use the MP3 below each and every day, or you can just take out a yellow sticky and a Sharpie or some kind of pen and practice this technique of creating those states which are desirable to you, useful to you, and valuable to you. You've done a great job. Take some time every day between now and our next lesson to practice this technique of self-suggestion.